Hey folks, Deano here again. This time taking another look at a Star Wars The Black Series figure from Hasbro. This is Sabine Wren, as seen in Star Wars Ahsoka. As time of this recording, the newest Disney Plus series. And one of the better ones. It doesn't come close to Mandalorian, and it clearly sets up a future show or film, whatever they decide on. But yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. Let's take a quick look at the box, shall we? So, yep, it says Star Wars Ahsoka on it. Sort of turquoisey packaging, or highlights this time round. You got Sabine Wren, choking hazard, yada yada. Nice picture of it on the side. The face actually looks really good on the picture. They've taken it obviously from the actress that plays her in the show. And on the back, quick blurb. Literally does not mention anything about Sabine. Just mentions Ahsoka. So yeah, get that out of the way and bring in Sabine herself. Now, as with most Black Series figures, they're a bit bare bones when it comes to accessories. So with Sabine, you get her helmet, which I literally just had it hanging on her weapon there. If you ever want to display her sort of holding it without having to balance it, just stick it on one of the guns, you would just fine. Mine's thankfully is a lot better done than some people's. They were getting misshapen moulds and bad paint apps and such. But no, mine's decent. Target finder comes down, just like Boba Fett's, and it's got the Night Owl insignia. Or shape, I should say. So yeah, she also comes with both her blasters. If I can get this one out of its holders. So yeah, they're both the same blaster. It's just Sabine being Sabine, being quite artsy, has painted them different colours, which, fair enough, differentiates them. And yeah, they fit almost too snugly in the holsters. So yeah, I would be careful with that. Don't stick them in too far, or you'll never get them back out. And she also comes with Ezra's lightsaber, which I don't have the Ezra figure because I didn't really feel the need for it. I watched Rebels, wasn't overly attached to it, although I liked the characters and such. But yeah, not looking to fill my shelves with characters from the cartoon. I'm all live action. So yeah, it's Ezra's lightsaber. It pops out eventually. Standard with the Black Series. I don't know why they put the little sort of nub on it so that it pops in. It makes it a chore to get back out. It's actually one of the harder lightsabers that we've got. Usually the lightsabers are quite soft material. And I didn't realise that Ezra's lightsaber was almost lopsided at the top, which means the blade itself is keyed. You have to put it in the right side or it just won't fit. And it also has an O-ring which fits on that little tab right there, and it just sits nicely. Doesn't really move much unless you want it to. So yeah, but in my case, she'll be holding the lightsaber, even though, let's be honest, they didn't really show how she trained or anything to become I'm not even going to say Jedi, more like a Force user. that just happens to use a lightsaber, which I suppose is exactly what Ahsoka is now. She's not a Jedi or a Sith. She's something in between. So yeah, taking a look at the figure itself. Yeah, I can see the actress in that face. The hair is almost a little bit too purple. I think it was a more purpley highlights in the show, especially when she cut the hair. But yeah, there's a dark wash there, so it does have some depth to it. The face does have a likeness. Unfortunately, it's one of the most boring expressions they could have made for her. I mean, they could have given her a smirk. That's literally also been done in the show, was smirk. But yeah, it gets the point across. Unlike some, the eyes on mine are actually in the correct places. Some people's eyes were a photoreal tampoed on a bit too high. So yeah. Details on the rest of the figure, mostly really good. Paint apps on her armour are clean. This is an overlay piece, it's not a solid bit of armour. Hasbro seems to be doing that with most of their figures now. They're just making these overlay pieces on base bodies, and it actually works really well. Hides articulation points for the most part, and yeah, looks really good. You've got the blue shoulder there. You've got the Rebel insignia. That's strange. Does she not have the Phoenix Squadron emblem in the show? I'll have to double check that. Yeah, the only bit that really looks cheap, in my opinion, is the belt and holsters. That could have done with a bit of a wash to make it look more like actual leather, as opposed to this, which is, I mean, let's be honest, it's a bit of brown plastic, the cheapest looking brown plastic, with some silver on the buckle, and that's about it. Absolutely nothing on the back. But yeah, the belt really needs some extra detail. It stands out far too much, in my opinion. But yeah, in terms of articulation, she can look up quite nicely, down an okay amount. It's a ball peg, so loads of motion at the top, a little bit at the bottom, but it is more restricted than, for example, Mauls that I checked last review. But yeah, arms completely unhindered. The shoulder pads go underneath the overlay. Full swivel there. No bicep swivel, but you do have elbow articulation that goes past 90 and can also swivel. So that basically gets the bicep articulation out the way. And you've got hinge and swivel at the wrists, which thankfully they have given Sabine the up and down hinge because of the lightsaber. I'm glad they're finally thinking about things like that. She has bicep swivel, which gets a lot of motion, despite you not really seeing it. Doesn't appear to have any waist articulation to speak of. That just seems to be like a solid piece. The legs can go up that far. No thigh swivel, and the actual groin section doesn't have much in the way of movement either. Although at the knee it does still move. Looks a little bit weird because for some reason they've moulded the knee pads to the upper leg instead of the lower. Would have preferred if they would have went with this. Would have looked less strange if you had to use it. She does have a boot cut, which also moves. So those kind of substitute for the thigh swivel. Foot articulation goes back really far, forward really far, and hinge right there for the ankle. And yeah, all in all, a decent figure, especially for the price. That's part of the reason I started getting back into this line. The figures are actually looking good now. They're encroaching on import companies' territory, just with the details and things like that. The only thing they're really missing is alternative heads and hands, to be honest. I'll just show this on. A lot of people were saying it doesn't really fit that well, the helmet, but in my opinion it looks fine. Once you've got it like angled down and such, you really don't notice the fact that it's just an overlay piece. So yeah, not sure what the problem was with other people's, but I don't mind it. The only other thing she's really missing is a jetpack, which they haven't even given her slots for, in case you get like Mando or Boba Fett and you want to swap them. I know she didn't use one in the Ahsoka show, but I'm pretty sure she had one quite often in Rebels, the cartoon. So at the very least it would have been a good addition for her. But yeah guys, all in all, decent figure. She is starting to sell out in places. I got lucky with the whole shebang. They got her in stock and I immediately purchased one. So yeah, definitely a figure I would recommend people track down. But yeah, until the next one guys, I'll see y'all later.